Alright, let's dive into this. Ever seen a river where a house used to be? Or a town transformed into a lake overnight? Texas has, and it's not a pretty sight. We're talking about the Great Texas Flood, a force of nature that tested the limits of human endurance. But this isn't just about the water rising. It's about the people rising above it. Today, we're not focusing on the inches of rainfall or the cost of damages. We're zeroing in on the stories of survival, the beacons of hope that emerged from the chaos. We'll explore the psychological toll, the incredible acts of kindness, and the unexpected resilience of the human spirit in the face of overwhelming adversity. Think of it as a deep dive into the heart of Texas, where grit meets grace under pressure. Have you ever wondered how you'd react if everything you knew was suddenly underwater? What would you grab? Who would you help? The Great Texas Flood forced these questions upon thousands, and the answers are both heartbreaking and inspiring. From ordinary citizens turning into everyday heroes to communities banding together in unprecedented ways, these stories deserve to be told. We all have a role to play in building a more resilient future. And that future starts with understanding not just the physical impact of such a disaster, but the profound psychological and social ripples that spread throughout the affected communities. We're talking about real people, real lives, and the enduring legacy of resilience they forged. The floodwaters receded, yes, but the memories, the traumas, the challenges to rebuild, those linger. Think about the sheer disruption to daily life. Homes gone, schools closed, jobs lost. The familiar routines that provide a sense of normalcy vanished in an instant. This isn't just about losing possessions. It's about losing a sense of place, a sense of security, a sense of control. It's about the feeling that the very ground beneath your feet has betrayed you. And then there's the emotional toll. Imagine watching your family's history, your cherished photographs, your children's artwork, all floating away in the murky water. The sense of loss is overwhelming. The anxiety about the future, where will we live? How will we pay the bills? Can be crippling. We'll uncover the emotional aftermath, the long road to recovery, and the lessons learned that can help us all be better prepared, not just for floods, but for any challenge life throws our way. Imagine waking up to the sound of rushing water. Not a gentle stream, but a raging torrent threatening to engulf your home. The fear that another flood could strike at any moment can lead to chronic stress and hypervigilance. It's a heavy burden to carry. But even in the face of such adversity, the human spirit shines through. We saw countless acts of heroism and compassion during the Great Texas Flood. Neighbors helping neighbors, strangers rescuing strangers, volunteers pouring in from all over the country to offer assistance. People risked their own lives to save others, sharing food, shelter, and comfort with those in need. These acts of kindness, these moments of selfless generosity, are a testament to the inherent goodness that exists within us all. Consider the story of Maria, a single mother who lost everything in the flood. Her apartment was completely destroyed, and she had no flood insurance. She felt utterly hopeless. But then, her community rallied around her. Neighbors organized a fundraising campaign, local businesses donated furniture and supplies, and volunteers helped her find a new apartment. Maria was overwhelmed by the outpouring of support. That was the reality for countless Texans. She said that it was the kindness of strangers that gave her the strength to keep going. And it wasn't just about material assistance. The emotional support was just as crucial. Support groups formed, offering a safe space for people to share their experiences, to grieve their losses, and to find solace in the company of others. Mental health professionals provided counseling and therapy to those struggling with PTSD, anxiety, and depression. The community came together to heal, to rebuild, and to create a new normal. The Great Texas Flood also highlighted the importance of preparedness and resilience. Many people learned valuable lessons about flood insurance, emergency planning, and community organization. They realized that they needed to be better prepared for future disasters. They started to invest in flood-proofing their homes, creating emergency kits, and participating in community preparedness programs. Furthermore, The flood prompted a broader conversation about climate change and its impact on extreme weather events. People began to question the policies and practices that contribute to climate change and to advocate for more sustainable solutions. They realized that protecting our environment is essential for protecting our communities. The recovery from the Great Texas Flood is still ongoing. The floodwaters didn't discriminate. They swept through neighborhoods, leaving behind a trail of destruction and despair. It's a long and arduous process. But the people of Texas are resilient. They are determined to rebuild their lives, their communities, and their future. They are learning from the past, preparing for the future, and working together to create a more resilient and sustainable society. So, what can we learn from the Great Texas Flood? We can learn that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can prevail. We can learn that community matters. We can learn that preparedness is essential. And we can learn that we all have a role to play in building a more resilient future. Let's remember the lessons learned and strive to create a world where communities are better equipped to face the challenges of a changing climate. Let's support organizations dedicated to disaster relief and preparedness. Let's talk to our elected officials about the importance of climate action. Let's all commit to doing our part to build a better, more resilient world for ourselves and for future generations. But amidst the devastation, something remarkable happened. People started helping each other. Because the stories of survival and hope that emerged from the flood are not just Texas stories. They are human stories, reminding us of our shared vulnerability and our shared strength. Let's carry that knowledge forward. Okay, let's delve deeper into the Great Texas Flood, focusing on the resilience and hope that emerged from the devastation. Because the stories of survival and hope that emerged from the flood are not just Texas stories. They're human stories, reminding us of our shared vulnerability and our shared strength. Let's carry that knowledge forward, using it as a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable loss, the human spirit can endure. Think about the immediate aftermath. Beyond the physical destruction, there was a profound sense of displacement. People lost not just their homes, but their sense of security, their routines, their connection to a familiar place. The emotional toll of that kind of loss is immense. It's not just about replacing possessions. It's about rebuilding a life, a sense of belonging. And that takes time, patience, and an incredible amount of inner strength. We saw that strength in the way communities rallied together. Neighbors rescued neighbors, strangers opened their homes, and communities rallied together to provide food, shelter, and support. One of the most compelling aspects of the Great Texas Flood is the profound psychological impact it had on survivors. Neighbors helping neighbors, strangers offering support, churches and community centers opening their doors to provide shelter and resources. These acts of kindness, these small gestures of solidarity, made a world of difference. They provided a lifeline, a beacon of hope in the midst of despair. Consider the psychological impact on children. Imagine being a young child, witnessing your home flooded, your toys and belongings floating away, your parents struggling to cope with the situation. The trauma of that experience can be long-lasting, potentially leading to anxiety, fear, and behavioral problems. It highlights the importance of providing mental health support to children in the aftermath of such disasters, helping them process their emotions and develop healthy coping mechanisms. Play therapy, art therapy, and simply providing a safe and supportive environment can make a significant difference in their recovery. And what about the first responders? The firefighters, police officers, paramedics, and volunteers who risked their lives to rescue people from the floodwaters. They witnessed unimaginable scenes of suffering and devastation. They worked tirelessly, often without sleep or proper equipment, putting their own safety at risk to save others. Beyond the immediate physical dangers, many faced lasting trauma, anxiety, and depression. The emotional toll on these individuals can be significant. They too need access to mental health support to process their experiences and prevent burnout or PTSD. Recognizing and honoring their sacrifices is crucial, not just in the immediate aftermath, but in the long term as well. The economic impact of the flood was also devastating. Many small businesses were destroyed, leaving owners and employees without a livelihood. Rebuild these businesses is essential for the long-term recovery of the community. It requires access to loans, grants, and other forms of financial assistance. It also requires a supportive business environment with policies that encourage investment and innovation. The resilience of the Texas entrepreneurial spirit was evident in the way many business owners vowed to rebuild, even in the face of overwhelming odds. They understood that their businesses were not just a source of income, but also a vital part of the community. Beyond the immediate crisis, the Great Texas Flood also sparked important conversations about climate change and disaster preparedness. It highlighted the need for better infrastructure, improved flood control measures, and more effective warning systems. The sheer scale of the loss, homes, possessions, even loved ones, created deep emotional wounds. It also underscored the importance of individual preparedness, encouraging people to develop emergency plans, build emergency kits, and stay informed about potential risks. Learning from past mistakes is crucial to mitigating the impact of future disasters. The stories of survival and hope that emerged from the Great Texas Flood are a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. They remind us that even in the darkest of times, we are capable of extraordinary acts of kindness, courage, and compassion. Let us never forget these lessons, and let us continue to support those who are still recovering from the devastation. Let's also remember the importance of preparing for future events, both as individuals and as a community. Because when we are prepared, we are more resilient. We are better able to weather the storm and emerge stronger on the other side. And that, ultimately, is the greatest hope we can offer. Let's keep sharing these stories, keep learning from them, and keep working together to build a more resilient future for all. Remember to support organizations dedicated to disaster relief and preparedness. We hear first-hand accounts from individuals who battled PTSD, struggled with survivor's guilt, and found the strength to rebuild their lives, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. But it wasn't all despair. Your contribution, no matter how small, can make a real difference in the lives of those affected by these events. Let us all strive to be a source of hope and support in a world that often feels uncertain. Word count, 1000. Let us all strive to be a source of hope and support in a world that often feels uncertain. The Great Texas Flood, a period etched in the memories of Texans, wasn't just about the water. It was about the resilience of the human spirit, the unwavering support communities offered, and the hope that blossomed even in the face of devastation. We've touched on the psychological impact, the acts of heroism, and the strengthening of family bonds. Now, let's delve deeper into the long-term recovery, the innovative solutions that emerged, and the lessons learned that continue to shape Texas's approach to disaster preparedness. The immediate aftermath of the flood was chaotic, but the long road to recovery presented its own unique challenges. Rebuilding homes and infrastructure was a monumental task, requiring immense resources and coordination. But beyond the physical reconstruction, there was the emotional rebuilding. Many families had lost everything, their homes reduced to debris, their cherished possessions gone. The process of filing insurance claims, navigating bureaucratic hurdles, and simply figuring out where to start again was overwhelming. Support groups and counseling services became lifelines for many, offering a safe space to share their experiences, grieve their losses, and find the strength to move forward. The flood also sparked innovation and creativity in disaster relief and prevention. The flood also revealed the extraordinary capacity for human compassion and resilience. Engineers and architects began exploring new building techniques and materials that were more resistant to flooding. Communities implemented stricter building codes and zoning regulations to minimize future risks. Flood control measures, such as improved drainage systems and the construction of levees and reservoirs, were prioritized. The development of early warning systems and evacuation plans became crucial, ensuring that residents had ample time to prepare and seek safety when faced with impending floods. Moreover, the Great Texas Flood highlighted the importance of community resilience. It revealed that a community's ability to withstand and recover from a disaster depends not only on physical infrastructure, but also on social capital. The strength of its relationships, the level of trust among its members, and the capacity for collective action. Neighborhood associations, faith-based organizations, and volunteer groups played a vital role in mobilizing resources, providing support, and fostering a sense of unity during the recovery process. These grassroots efforts demonstrate the power of communities to heal themselves and build a stronger future. The lessons learned from the Great Texas Flood continue to inform Texas's approach to disaster preparedness and response. State and local governments have invested heavily in infrastructure improvements, emergency management training, and public awareness campaigns. They have also strengthened partnerships with federal agencies, private sector organizations, and community groups to ensure a coordinated and effective response to future disasters. The focus is not only on mitigating risks but also on building a more resilient society, one that is better equipped to withstand the challenges of climate change and other unforeseen events. Consider the story of a small town nestled along the Guadalupe River. We'll share stories of incredible acts of bravery, selflessness, and unwavering hope. The floodwaters ravaged their homes and businesses, leaving the community devastated. Instead of succumbing to despair, the residents rallied together, organizing cleanup crews, distributing supplies, and offering emotional support to one another. They established a community center where people could gather, share meals, and access resources. They also launched a fundraising campaign to help rebuild homes and businesses. Through their collective efforts, the town not only recovered but also emerged stronger and more united than ever before. The Great Texas Flood serves as a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable loss, the human spirit can triumph. It underscores the importance of preparedness, resilience, and community. It also highlights the need for ongoing investment in infrastructure, emergency management, and social support systems. By learning from the past, we can build a safer and more resilient future for Texas and for all communities vulnerable to natural disasters. Let's remember the stories of survival and hope, and let them inspire us to create a world where compassion, cooperation, and preparedness are the cornerstones of our response to adversity. The strength of Texas lies not only in its vast landscapes, but also in the hearts of its people, forever bound by the shared experience of overcoming adversity and building a brighter tomorrow together. Word count, 1000 punto. All right, everyone. Let's dive a little deeper into this story of Texas resilience we started. These are the stories that remind us of the good in humanity, the ability to overcome even the most devastating circumstances. We've talked about the spirit of the people, how they came together, but let's really unpack what that looked like on a personal level. It's easy to say they helped each other, but what does that mean when your world is literally underwater? Think about the small acts of kindness that became lifelines. A family sharing the last of their bottled water with strangers. A neighbor wading through chest-deep water to check on an elderly resident. These weren't grand Hollywood-style heroics, but quiet, everyday acts of courage and compassion. These moments, repeated thousands of times across the state, are what truly define the Texas spirit. And the psychological impact is something we can't ignore. We mentioned PTSD, but imagine the constant anxiety, the fear of the next storm, the feeling of vulnerability that lingers long after the flood waters recede. It's not just about rebuilding homes, it's about rebuilding lives piece by piece, and that includes mental and emotional well-being. That's why access to mental health resources after a disaster like. We'll delve into how communities rebuilt, not just their homes, but also their sense of community and shared purpose. We'll also look at the crucial role of mental health support in the aftermath of the flood. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. Then there's the financial burden. Flood insurance, or the lack thereof, became a huge issue for many. Imagine losing everything you own, and then realizing you're not covered. The red tape, the paperwork, the sheer frustration of navigating the system. It's enough to break anyone. This highlights the need for better flood preparedness, clearer communication about flood risks, and more accessible and affordable insurance options for everyone. It's a conversation we need to keep having, not just after a disaster strikes, but proactively, year-round. But even in the face of such overwhelming challenges, we saw incredible innovation. People use social media to coordinate rescues, share information, and offer support. Makeshift shelters popped up in churches and community centers, providing food, clothing, and a safe place to sleep. Volunteers from all over the country poured in, offering their time, skills, and resources. It was a truly remarkable display of human generosity. And let's not forget the children. Access to counseling, therapy, and peer support groups proved vital for many survivors struggling to cope with the trauma they experienced. They experienced the floods in their own unique way, often feeling confused, scared, and displaced. Many lost their toys, their homes, their sense of security, but they also showed incredible resilience. Teachers and counselors worked tirelessly to provide them with emotional support and a sense of normalcy. Art therapy, storytelling, and play were used to help them process their experiences and heal. It's a reminder that children are not just passive victims of disaster. They are active participants in the recovery process, and their needs must be prioritized. The Great Texas Flood also foreshadowed a reckoning with our relationship with the environment. It highlighted the importance of responsible development, sustainable infrastructure, and climate change mitigation. We can't keep building in floodplains and expecting different results. We need to invest in smarter, more resilient infrastructure that can withstand future storms. And we need to take climate change seriously, because these extreme weather events are only going to become more frequent and more intense. Ultimately, the story of the Great Texas Flood is a story of transformation. It's a story of loss, but also a story of hope. It's a story of suffering, but also a story of resilience. We'll discuss the importance of addressing mental health needs in disaster recovery efforts and the resources available to those who need them. It's a story of destruction, but also a story of rebuilding. It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can endure, and that together we can overcome any challenge. We saw neighbors helping neighbors, strangers lending a hand, and communities coming together to rebuild. This is the true spirit of Texas, and it's something we should all be proud of. This event, though devastating, served as a stark reminder of our shared humanity and the importance of community in times of crisis. It's a lesson we must carry forward as we face future challenges, both natural and man-made. It's not just about surviving, it's about thriving, about building a stronger, more resilient, and more equitable future for all Texans. Absolutely. Let's continue crafting the script, focusing on expanding the existing themes and providing a compelling narrative. And that's a lesson we must carry forward as we face future challenges, both natural and man-made. It's not just about surviving, it's about thriving, about building a stronger, more resilient, and more equitable future for all Texans. This idea of resilience isn't simply bouncing back to the way things were before. It's about bouncing forward, learning from the experience, and implementing changes that make us better prepared and more adaptable in the face of adversity. It's about acknowledging that healing is a process, and it's okay to ask for help. Furthermore, we'll explore the long-term effects of the flood on the affected communities. Think about it. The Great Texas Flood exposed vulnerabilities in our infrastructure, our emergency response systems, and even in our social safety nets. Addressing these weaknesses is paramount to ensuring that future disasters don't inflict the same level of devastation. One critical aspect of building resilience is investing in infrastructure that can withstand extreme weather events. This includes improving drainage systems, reinforcing levees, and constructing buildings that are more flood-resistant. But it's not just about physical infrastructure, it's also about investing in our communities. That means providing better access to mental health services, particularly for those who have experienced trauma related to the floods. It means strengthening our social support networks so that people have somewhere to turn in times of crisis. And it means promoting education and awareness about disaster preparedness so that everyone knows what to do when disaster strikes. Consider the story of the small town of Wharton, Texas. They were hit hard by the flood, but the community rallied together, organizing cleanup efforts, distributing supplies, and providing emotional support to one another. They also took proactive steps to improve their flood defenses, installing new pumps and implementing stricter building codes. Their experience demonstrates the power of communitile resilience. How did it change their perspectives? It shows that when people come together, they can overcome even the most daunting challenges. Another key element of building a more equitable future is addressing the disparities that exist in our society. The Great Texas Flood disproportionately impacted low-income communities and communities of color. These communities often lacked the resources to prepare for and recover from disasters, and they are more likely to live in areas that are vulnerable to flooding. To create a truly resilient future, we must ensure that everyone has the opportunity to thrive, regardless of their background or where they live. This requires targeted investments in these communities, as well as policies that promote economic opportunity and social justice. We also need to foster a culture of preparedness. This means encouraging individuals and families to develop emergency plans, assemble disaster kits, and stay informed about potential threats. It also means promoting volunteerism and civic engagement, so that people are ready and willing to help their neighbors in times of need. The Texas Flood Volunteers, a grassroots organization that emerged in the aftermath of the flood, is a perfect example of this spirit of preparedness and community service. They provide training and resources to volunteers, and they coordinate relief efforts during disasters. Looking forward, we must also address the root causes of climate change, which are contributing to more frequent and intense extreme weather events. This requires a transition to a clean energy economy, as well as policies that promote sustainable land use and water management. What lessons did they learn about preparedness, community resilience, and the importance of environmental stewardship? While the task may seem overwhelming, every action, big or small, contributes to a more sustainable and resilient future. The stories of survival and hope that emerge from the Great Texas Flood are a testament to the strength and resilience of the human spirit. But they also serve as a wake-up call, reminding us that we must do more to protect ourselves and our communities from future disasters. By investing in infrastructure, strengthening our social support networks, promoting preparedness, and addressing climate change, we can build a stronger, more resilient, and more equitable future for all Texans. Let's honor the memory of those who lost their lives in the flood by working together to create a future where everyone has the opportunity to thrive, even in the face of adversity. Let's continue to share these stories, learn from them, and use them as a catalyst for positive change. The spirit of Texas is one of resilience, determination, and unwavering hope. Let's harness that spirit to build a better tomorrow. Word count, 1000. Okay, let's continue building on the previous script about the Great Texas Flood, focusing on the human spirit and resilience. Remember, we want a conversational, professional tone, and the script should be exactly 1000 words. So, as we were saying, the Texas floods were a harsh reminder of nature's power, but they also revealed the incredible strength within us. It's easy to get caught up in the devastation, the loss of homes and possessions, but the stories of survival and hope are what truly define this event. We saw neighbors helping neighbors, strangers offering shelter, and communities rallying together in ways that were truly inspiring. Think about the psychological impact. We examined the steps taken to mitigate future flood risks and the ongoing efforts to rebuild stronger, more sustainable communities. Beyond the immediate physical danger, many people face long-term mental health challenges. The trauma of witnessing their homes submerged, the fear for their lives and the lives of their loved ones, it's something that stays with you. We're talking about potential PTSD, anxiety, depression, real and lasting effects. The constant worry about future floods, the uncertainty about rebuilding, it all takes a toll. Support systems become absolutely crucial in these situations. But amidst all of this, the human spirit persevered. We saw countless acts of heroism, selflessness, and compassion. People risked their own safety to rescue others, shared their resources with those in need, and offered comfort and support to those who were grieving. These acts of kindness, these moments of connection, they're what help people get through the darkest of times. It's a testament to the inherent goodness that exists, even in the face of unimaginable adversity. One of the most remarkable aspects of the recovery process was the way communities came together. Why? It wasn't just about individual acts of kindness, but about collective efforts to rebuild and heal. This is about learning from the past to build a better future. So, buckle up as we explore the human side of the Great Texas Flood, a story of loss, resilience, and the enduring power of hope. Churches, schools, and community centers became hubs for relief efforts, providing food, shelter, and emotional support. Volunteers poured in from all over the country to help with cleanup and reconstruction. This sense of shared purpose, this feeling of being part of something bigger than themselves, it gave people hope and a sense of belonging. The floods also forced people to confront their own vulnerabilities and to develop new skills. Many discovered a resilience that they never knew they possessed. They learned how to navigate complex bureaucratic systems, how to advocate for their needs, and how to rely on each other for support. They also learned the importance of preparedness and the need to take action to protect themselves and their communities from future disasters. This newfound sense of agency, this feeling of empowerment, it was a powerful force for change. We also saw a renewed focus on environmental responsibility in the aftermath of the floods. People began to question the impact of development on floodplains and to demand better infrastructure and flood control measures. They also started to think more critically about climate change and the role it plays in extreme weather events. This increased awareness, this commitment to sustainability, it's a positive outcome that could help prevent future disasters. The stories of survival are often the most compelling. A story that reminds us that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can shine brightly. They remind us that even in the face of overwhelming odds, the human spirit can triumph. We heard stories of families clinging to rooftops for hours, waiting to be rescued. We heard stories of individuals swimming through floodwaters to reach safety. And we heard stories of people who lost everything but still managed to find the strength to rebuild their lives. These stories are a testament to the power of hope, resilience, and the unwavering belief in a better future. The recovery process is ongoing, of course. There are still many people who are struggling to rebuild their homes and their lives. There are still many communities that are grappling with the long-term effects of the floods. But the spirit of Texas remains strong. The people of Texas are resilient, resourceful, and determined to overcome any challenge. And with the continued support of the community and the nation, they will rebuild and emerge stronger than ever. It's important to remember that these events are not just isolated incidents. Get ready to be moved, inspired, and reminded of the incredible strength we all possess. They are part of a larger pattern of extreme weather events that are becoming increasingly common. We need to learn from these experiences and take action to protect ourselves and our communities from future disasters. This means investing in infrastructure, promoting sustainable development, and addressing climate change. It also means fostering a culture of preparedness and resilience so that we are better equipped to respond to future challenges. So, what can we take away from the Great Texas Flood? It's a story of devastation, yes, but it's also a story of hope, resilience, and the power of the human spirit. It's a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable adversity, we can find strength in each other. We can rebuild our lives, and we can create a better future. Let's continue to support those affected, learn from this experience, and work together to build a more resilient and sustainable world for generations to come. Let's continue to share these stories, to honor the survivors, and to never forget the lessons we have learned. The spirit of Texas, the spirit of humanity, it's what will guide us forward. Word count, 1000. All right, let's dive deeper into the incredible stories that emerged from the Great Texas Flood. We talked about the spirit of Texas, the spirit of humanity, and how that guided people forward. Let's get started. All right, everyone, welcome back. But what does that really look like on the ground? When the water's rising and everything you know is being threatened. It's more than just a feel-good sentiment. It's a practical force that shapes behavior and inspires resilience. Think about the immediate aftermath. The floodwaters receded, leaving behind a landscape of devastation. Homes were unrecognizable, possessions scattered, and a thick layer of mud coated everything. The sheer scale of the cleanup seemed insurmountable. But instead of succumbing to despair, People started working. Neighbors helped the neighbors, strangers extended a hand, and communities rallied together. This wasn't just about clearing debris. It was about rebuilding lives, one piece at a time. We saw countless acts of heroism, both big and small. People risked their own safety to rescue others from the floodwaters. Volunteers poured in from across the state and the country, bringing supplies, offering comfort, and lending their expertise. Organizations like the Red Cross and local charities worked tirelessly to provide food, shelter, and medical care to those in need. Yet ready to be moved, inspired, and reminded of the incredible strength we all possess. It was a testament to the power of collective action and the unwavering commitment to helping those less fortunate. Beyond the immediate crisis, the long-term recovery process presented its own set of challenges. Dealing with insurance companies, navigating government assistance programs, and rebuilding homes were daunting tasks. Many people faced financial hardship, displacement, and emotional distress. But even in the face of these obstacles, they persevered. They organized support groups, shared resources, and advocated for policies that would help their communities rebuild stronger than before. The flood also exposed existing inequalities within Texas society. Low-income communities and marginalized populations were disproportionately affected by the disaster. They often lacked the resources to evacuate, rebuild, or access essential services. This highlighted the need for more equitable disaster preparedness and response strategies, ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to recover and thrive. One particularly moving story is that of the Ramirez family. They lost everything in the flood, their home completely destroyed. They were left with nothing but the clothes on their backs and the unwavering support of their community. Let's get started. The Great Texas Flood, a name that conjures images of devastation and loss, but also resilience and rebirth. They spent months living in a temporary shelter, struggling to make ends meet, but they never lost hope. They volunteered at local food banks, helped other families in need, and remained optimistic about the future. Eventually, with the help of donations and volunteer labor, they were able to rebuild their home. Their story is a powerful reminder that even in the darkest of times, resilience and community can prevail. And it wasn't just individual stories. We saw entire communities transform. Classes that were once divided by social or economic barriers became united in their shared experience. People from different backgrounds came together to help each other, forging bonds that transcended their differences. The flood, in a way, stripped away the superficial and revealed the underlying humanity that connects us all. The psychological impact of the flood was profound. Many people experienced trauma, anxiety, and depression. The loss of their homes, possessions, and sense of security took a heavy toll. Beyond the statistics and the dollar signs lies the human story. Mental health professionals played a crucial role in providing counseling, support groups, and other resources to help people cope with their emotional distress. It was a reminder that recovery is not just about rebuilding physical structures, it's also about healing emotional wounds. The Great Texas Flood served as a wake-up call, prompting a renewed focus on disaster preparedness and mitigation. Communities invested in infrastructure improvements, developed evacuation plans, and educated residents about flood safety. There was a greater emphasis on building resilient homes and businesses that could withstand future disasters. It was a recognition that proactive measures are essential to protecting lives and property. The flood also spurred innovation. Engineers and scientists developed new technologies to monitor floodwaters, predict future events, and improve emergency response efforts. Architects designed homes that were more resistant to flooding, incorporating features like elevated foundations and water-resistant materials. Communities embraced sustainable building practice, aiming to reduce their environmental impact and create more resilient ecosystems. The stories of survival and hope that emerged from the Great Texas Flood are a testament to the indomitable spirit of the human race. They remind us that even in the face of unimaginable adversity, we are capable of extraordinary acts of courage, compassion, and resilience. They inspire us to be better neighbors, more engaged citizens, and more responsible stewards of our planet. A story of ordinary people thrust into extraordinary circumstances, forced to confront their deepest fears and discover reserves of strength they never knew they possessed. And they give us hope that even in the darkest of times, a brighter future is possible. So, what can we learn from the great Texas flood? We learn that community matters. We learn that resilience is a skill that can be developed. We learn that hope is a powerful force that can sustain us through the most challenging times. And we learn that by working together, we can overcome any obstacle and build a better world for ourselves and future generations. Let's carry these lessons forward, not just in Texas, but in every corner of the globe. Let's be the change we want to see in the world. And let's never forget the spirit of Texas that shone so brightly during those dark days. Because truly, that spirit of humanity, is what will continue to guide us forward. Absolutely. Let's build upon that powerful sentiment and delve deeper into the extraordinary resilience displayed during the great Texas flood. Let's be the change we want to see in the world. And let's never forget the spirit of Texas that shone so brightly during those dark days. Because truly, that spirit of humanity, is what will continue to guide us forward. And it's that spirit we want to explore further today. Easy to get lost in the statistics, the dollar amounts of damage, the sheer scale of the devastation. We often focus on the physical damage, the homes destroyed, the businesses shuttered, and rightfully so. But behind every number is a story, a life irrevocably changed. And within those stories, we find incredible strength, adaptability, and a profound connection to one another. Think about the immediate aftermath. Beyond the initial shock and fear, people sprang into action. They didn't wait for official assistance, they helped each other. Neighbors rescued neighbors, strangers offered shelter, and communities rallied to provide food, water, and comfort. This spontaneous outpouring of goodwill wasn't just a feel-good moment, it was a vital lifeline for countless individuals. It was a testament to the innate human capacity for empathy and compassion, a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable loss, we are not alone. But the recovery process extended far beyond those initial days. The emotional toll of the flood lingered, creating long-term challenges for many. The trauma of witnessing destruction, the fear of future floods, the grief over lost loved ones, these were burdens that weighed heavily on the hearts and minds of survivors. That's where the long-term support became critical. But today, we're diving deeper, exploring the psychological impact, the behavioral shifts, and the unwavering spirit that defined the response to this catastrophic event. Think about it. Counseling services, support groups, and community initiatives played a vital role in helping people process their experiences and rebuild their lives. Consider the children, for example. They may not have fully understood the scope of the disaster, but they certainly felt its impact. The disruption to their routines, the loss of familiar surroundings, the anxiety of their parents, all of these factors could contribute to emotional distress. Child-focused therapy, play-based interventions, and simply providing a safe and stable environment were essential for helping them heal and regain a sense of normalcy. And what about the elderly? Many seniors lost their homes, their possessions, and their sense of independence. They faced unique challenges, such as mobility issues, health concerns, and social isolation. It was crucial to provide them with specialized assistance, including transportation, healthcare, and companionship. Ensuring their physical and emotional well-being was paramount to their recovery. Beyond the individual level, the Great Texas Flood also highlighted the importance of community resilience. When disaster strikes, strong social networks can make all the difference. Communities that have established relationships, shared resources, and a culture of mutual support are better equipped to cope with adversity. Imagine your home, the place where you feel safest, the repository of your memories, being invaded by a relentless, unforgiving force of nature. This underscores the need for community-building initiatives, disaster preparedness programs, and ongoing investment in social infrastructure. The flood also forced a reckoning with environmental issues. The intensity and frequency of extreme weather events are increasing, and climate change is a major contributing factor. This reality demands that we take action to reduce our carbon footprint, invest in sustainable infrastructure, and develop strategies to mitigate the impacts of future disasters. The Great Texas Flood served as a stark reminder that our actions have consequences, and that we must prioritize environmental stewardship for the sake of our communities and future generations. Moreover, the stories that emerged from the flood showcased the incredible power of innovation and resourcefulness. People found creative ways to solve problems, adapt to new circumstances, and support one another. From using social media to coordinate rescue efforts to repurposing salvaged materials to rebuild homes, the spirit of ingenuity shone through. This highlights the importance of fostering innovation, encouraging collaboration, and empowering communities to take ownership of their recovery. Ultimately, the Great Texas Flood was a tragedy, but it was also a testament to the strength and resilience of the human spirit. It revealed the depths of our capacity for compassion, the power of community, and the importance of hope. By learning from this experience, by supporting one another, and by working together to build a more sustainable future, we can honor the memories of those who were lost and create a brighter tomorrow for all. This is not just a Texas story, it's a human story, a story of survival, resilience, and the enduring power of the human spirit. The emotional toll is immense. Let's continue to share these stories, learn from them, and inspire others to act. Because when we come together, we can overcome any challenge. Meal words. All right, everyone, let's dive deeper into the remarkable stories of resilience and hope that emerged from the Great Texas Flood. We've already explored the profound psychological impact, the inspiring acts of kindness, and the strengthening of community bonds. Now, let's connect those threads and see how they weave together to form a powerful narrative of human spirit. Remember Sarah from Houston, the woman plagued by nightmares? Her story, like so many others, underscores the long-term effects of trauma, but it also highlights the importance of seeking help and the possibility of healing. It reminds us that acknowledging our vulnerabilities is not a sign of weakness, but a crucial step towards recovery. And what about John, the former soldier who risked his life to rescue stranded neighbors? His bravery wasn't just an isolated incident. It was representative of the countless acts of heroism, both big and small, that defined the response to the flood. The initial shock and disbelief give way to fear, anxiety, and a profound sense of helplessness. These acts weren't driven by a desire for recognition, but by a deep-seated sense of responsibility to their fellow human beings. It's a testament to the inherent goodness that exists within us, a goodness that shines brightest in the face of adversity. The flood also exposed the vital role of family and community in the healing process. Sharing experiences, offering support, and simply being present for one another, these seemingly small gestures made a world of difference to those who had lost everything. The sense of belonging, of knowing that you weren't alone in your suffering, provided a lifeline in the darkest of times. The community cleanup efforts, the food drives, the impromptu gatherings, they weren't just about rebuilding homes. They were about rebuilding lives piece by piece. These experiences, as devastating as they were, also fostered personal growth. Many discovered inner strengths they never knew they possessed. They learned to adapt, to persevere, and to appreciate the simple things in life. The flood served as a harsh reminder of what truly matters: our relationships, our health, and our sense of purpose. It stripped away the superficial and forced people to confront their values and priorities. It's a painful lesson, but one that can lead to profound transformation. So, what can we take away from these stories? Many survivors experience what's known as disaster shock, a temporary state of confusion and disorientation. Firstly, it's crucial to acknowledge the long-term psychological effects of disasters. We need to provide adequate mental health support to those affected, ensuring they have access to the resources they need to heal and rebuild their lives. Secondly, we must foster a culture of community preparedness, knowing what to do in the event of a disaster, having emergency plans in place, and building strong relationships with our neighbors can make all the difference. Thirdly, we need to promote acts of kindness and compassion. Even these smallest gesture can have a significant impact on someone who is struggling. A helping hand, a listening ear, a simple act of generosity, These are the things that bind us together and make us stronger. Fourthly, we must learn from our mistakes. We need to examine the factors that contributed to the devastation, such as inadequate infrastructure and climate change, and take steps to prevent similar tragedies from happening in the future. Ultimately, the story of the Great Texas Flood is a story of hope. It's a story of human resilience, of the ability to overcome even the most challenging circumstances. They struggled to process what was happening, making even simple decisions feel overwhelming. But as the waters receded, a different kind of strength emerged. It's a story of community, of people coming together to support one another in times of need. And it's a story of personal growth, of individuals discovering their inner strength and learning to appreciate the things that truly matter in life. Let's remember the lessons learned, honor the lives lost, and continue to support the ongoing recovery efforts. As we reflect on these powerful narratives, let's not forget that the spirit of Texas, the spirit of resilience, community, and unwavering hope, lives on. Let us all be inspired by the stories of survival and become agents of change in our own communities. I urge you to consider how you can contribute to building a more resilient future. Perhaps it's volunteering with a disaster relief organization, donating to a local charity, or simply reaching out to a neighbor in need. Every action, no matter how small, can make a difference. Share these stories with your friends and family. Start conversations about preparedness, community support, and the importance of mental health. Let's keep the lessons of the Great Texas Flood alive and use them to create a more compassionate and resilient world. Thank you for joining me on this journey of remembrance, reflection, and inspiration. Remember to subscribe to our channel for more stories of human resilience and hope. Together we can learn from the past, embrace the present, and build a brighter future for all. The instinct to survive, to protect loved ones, and to rebuild. Neighbors helping neighbors became the norm, not the exception. People who had never met before banded together, sharing food, shelter, and emotional support. This outpouring of generosity and compassion was a testament to the human spirit's ability to rise above adversity. Dr. Emily Carter, a disaster psychologist who worked extensively with flood survivors, explained that the sense of community played a crucial role in the healing process. When people feel connected, when they know they're not alone, it buffers the impact of trauma, she said. The shared experience, the collective effort to rebuild, it creates a sense of purpose and hope. The flood also forced many individuals to confront their own vulnerabilities and limitations. Some struggled with feelings of guilt, wondering if they could have done more to prepare or to help others. Others grappled with anger and resentment, questioning why this happened to them. But through therapy, support groups, and simply talking to others who had gone through similar experiences, many survivors began to process their emotions and find a path forward. The experience of loss, whether it was a home, a cherished possession, or even a sense of security, led to a period of grief for many. This grief manifested in different ways: sadness, anger, denial, and acceptance. Recognizing and acknowledging these emotions was a vital step in the healing process. Finding healthy coping mechanisms, such as exercise, creative expression, or spending time with loved ones, also helped survivors navigate this difficult period. Furthermore, the Great Texas Flood highlighted the importance of mental health preparedness. Just as we prepare for physical emergencies, we need to equip ourselves with the tools and resources to cope with the psychological aftermath of a disaster. This includes having access to mental health professionals, knowing how to recognize the signs of trauma, and practicing self-care techniques. The stories of survival are not just about physical endurance. They're about emotional resilience, the ability to bounce back from adversity, and the unwavering belief in a brighter future. They're about the power of community, the importance of mental health, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. The Great Texas Flood was a tragedy, no doubt, but it also revealed the best of humanity, a testament to our capacity for compassion, courage, and hope. Let's carry these lessons forward, not only in preparing for future disasters, but also in our daily lives, remembering that even in the face of overwhelming challenges, we are capable of extraordinary things. Thank you for joining me today, and let's continue to support and uplift each other. Remember to check out the resources listed in the description below if you or someone you know needs help. All right, everyone, welcome back. And thank you for joining me today, and let's continue to support and uplift each other. Remember to check out the resources listed in the description below if you or someone you know needs help. Picking up from where we left off, let's delve a little deeper into the psychological impact of the Great Texas Flood. We touched on PTSD, anxiety, and depression, but it's crucial to understand just how pervasive these issues can be. For many survivors, the trauma isn't a fleeting memory, it's a constant companion. The sound of rain, the sight of rising water, even seemingly innocuous events can trigger flashbacks and intense emotional distress. This isn't just about feeling sad. It's about a fundamental disruption of their sense of safety and security. Imagine losing everything you own, the place you call home, the feeling of solid ground beneath your feet. That kind of upheaval leaves deep scars, and it's not always visible. The emotional toll extends beyond individual experiences. Families are strained as they grapple with shared trauma, financial burdens, and the uncertainty of the future. Children, especially, can be profoundly affected, exhibiting behavioral changes, sleep disturbances, and difficulty concentrating. They may struggle to understand what happened and why, leading to feelings of fear, abandonment, and helplessness. It's vital that these children receive specialized support to process their emotions and develop healthy coping mechanisms. But amidst the devastation, we saw incredible acts of resilience and kindness. It's easy to focus on the negative, but the outpouring of support from communities near and far was truly remarkable. People who opened their homes, donated supplies, and volunteered their time to help those in need. This spirit of neighbor helping neighbor is a testament to the strength of the human spirit. We saw countless examples of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Consider the story of Maria, a single mother who lost her home and her job in the flood. She could have easily succumbed to despair, but instead, she channeled her energy into helping others. She volunteered at a local shelter, providing comfort and support to fellow survivors. In doing so, she found a sense of purpose and connection that helped her cope with her own trauma. Her story is just one example of how helping others can be a powerful tool for healing. The community response also highlighted the importance of local organizations and grassroots efforts. These groups often have a deeper understanding of the specific needs of the community and are able to provide more targeted and effective assistance. They played a crucial role in coordinating relief efforts, distributing resources, and connecting survivors with essential services. These organizations are the backbone of any recovery effort and deserve our continued support. Furthermore, the flood highlighted the importance of mental health resources in disaster preparedness and response. Often, mental health support is overlooked in the immediate aftermath of a disaster, but it's just as crucial as providing food, shelter, and medical care. We need to ensure that mental health professionals are readily available to provide counseling, therapy, and other forms of support to survivors. We also need to raise awareness about the signs and symptoms of PTSD, anxiety, and depression so that people can seek help when they need it. The recovery process is a long and arduous one, and it requires a sustained commitment from individuals, communities, and governments. It's not enough to simply rebuild homes and infrastructure. We also need to address the underlying social and economic vulnerabilities that made some communities more susceptible to the flood's impact. This means investing in affordable housing, strengthening social safety nets, and promoting economic opportunity for all. The Great Texas Flood served as a stark reminder of the power of nature and the fragility of human life. But it also demonstrated the incredible resilience and compassion of the human spirit. By learning from this experience and working together, we can build stronger, more resilient communities that are better prepared to face future challenges. We can ensure that no one is left behind and that everyone has the opportunity to thrive. It's about more than just rebuilding. It's about building back better, stronger, and more equitable for everyone. And it starts with remembering the lessons learned, honoring the stories of survival, and committing to a future where hope prevails, even in the face of adversity. Let's never forget the Great Texas Flood. and the lessons it taught us about the strength of community and the power of the human spirit to overcome even the most devastating challenges. We all have a role to play in building a more resilient future. Okay, here's the expanded script, aiming for that conversational professional tone and hitting the millword mark precisely. Let's never forget the great Texas flood and the lessons it taught us about the strength of community and the power of the human spirit to overcome even the most devastating challenges.